Welcome back to the MLS Show. Me, Chris and Ped. We are now moving on to, well, there's a little bit of a clue.
What?
Sport
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, they might have played a little bit better than what New York City did last
tired,
night.
didn't they?
They did look tired. We are, of course, talking about Sporting Kansas City against New York City. Before we get into that game, let me quickly speak to Chris about New York City, because we didn't do anything last week. And they've been on a good run. They've won the New York Derby for the first time ever.
Brilliant.
And then had a tremendous away win as well in midweek. So the New York Derby, quickly, some quick thoughts on that.
I think it was just one of those that something like that you just need to get over the line, don't you? So the fact that they've just gone and beat them, and look, they got beat 7-0 last time, didn't they? So to avenge that defeat as well, it's just brilliant. And it felt like from even this far away, there was a lift around the club and around everything to do with the club. And so that's just fucking, every single time. That is absolutely brilliant for New York and something needed. The run that they've been on, man, Frank Lampard's been instrumental in it, hasn't he? And, you know, I don't like Frank Lampard. And as I said, I was going to hate on him all season. I really can't, to be honest with you. He's still just as good as he ever was in there. He still just finds pockets of space. He still knows how to finish the ball better than any midfielder I think I've probably ever seen. He's really impressing me.
I mean, he was, when I spoke about New York City and said about Villa going wide and there was no one down the middle, I remember Ped saying, well, Lampard might do that. And he's come back and got 3 goals in 4 games. Ped, I mean, he's fitted in to how we expected him to do that role anyway.
And we give him a lot of hate at first. I know we did, because he was never playing, and there was pictures of him left, right and centre and doing TV in this country and stuff. But he's fit and he's doing what Frank's always done, and finding those pockets of space, arriving late into the box, taking a lot of pressure off Villa. And the 3 of them seem to have linked up really well. They've got their legs around them. Jack Harrison's, suddenly started coming on as well. And defensively, New York have looked a hell of a lot better. And it's all just clicking into place very nicely. So
until last night.
Until he go to my boys and get the...
Well, that was it. They won the New York Derby, then went and won 1-0 away at New England, I think it was, wasn't it? Lampard scored the winner there. Couple of clean sheets, 5 wins on the road, which is more than anybody else in MLS at the moment. They go to the Children's Mercy Park, I think it's called, against Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City themselves starting to pick back up now after a bit
been
of a
on a decent run of late. In June, I think they went to LA and got a draw. They went up to Montreal and got a draw. They beat Dallas at home. They went out of the Open
Orlando
Cup.
City as well.
Not that hard, is it? And you know, going to that game last night without Don Dwyer as well. No Don Dwyer playing. And New York did look tired, didn't they? They looked really tired. Kansas can be very sapping. You know, it's hot,
incredibly hot,
humid place. We've seen a few games recently where the tempo of the game is so slow, and you can see that because of the heat. But I think what was key last night was,
Saunders.
Well, I was going to come on to that. You know, we know, I think that New York, that's a position they really need to fill. I think will fill eventually. But it was the goals, they scored early, then conceded, and then they got a goal straight away. I think that was massively important. That, I think tiredness can be body and mind. And I think if you're behind in games, especially 2 quick goals, I think that can go against you. So,
I mean, it's a hammer blow, isn't it? You get back into the game so quickly, and then all the air's just takes, all the steam sticking out of you or whatever, and you just, oh man, what do we have to do to get in this? I think the Reds dropped down.
I mean, obviously Benny Feilhaber scored after 7 minutes. Could the keeper have done better with that
I think so, to be honest with you. I think when you look at that goal, and if you were to look at it in the slow motion replays and stuff, he takes a step forward when it loops over his head. And if he doesn't take that step forward, then he's fine. He's in a position where he can actually get the ball quite comfortably and stuff. And it's the second one, though, isn't it?
Well, I mean, obviously they go behind with that. It's a poor goal, and he has made. He's weird, Saunders, because he pulled that later on in the game. He made a brilliant save. I think it was from Espinosa.
Not a good goalie, though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He'll make those saves, and you go, oh, he looks all right. But then some of the goals,
do you know what he reminds me of?
Outrageously bad.
He reminds me a little bit of Joe Hart, and that's probably massively disrespectful to Joe Hart. But he does have those clangers in him. I think Saunders. I think it was the first or second game of the season he had. Pretty terrible game, and he does seem to just drop a few clangers in every few games, but then he'll play well in between.
It's no coincidence that he ended up at New York. Do you know what I mean? He'd been around a little bit, and he's one of those. He's always got a mistake in him.
Yeah,
always. Definitely. Good shot stopper, but always got a mistake in him.
Well, I thought New York City responded really well. Pirlo pressing, the high press from Pirlo won the ball.
What he's known for.
But it was a tremendous run down the left. I think it was Matarrita, wasn't it? He played further up the pitch. He put it across and Frank's arrived.
It was just the way. It was like the no look. Pirlo was just waiting for that to happen. That's really well drilled in training. You can see that. He's waiting and waiting, doesn't even have to look. And then you put a ball in the box in, Frank Lampard's
calling for the ball.
Yeah.
Isn't he? He's calling for it, and that's the best thing about Lampard. He just stops. He just waits. He doesn't even find the space. He stops while everyone else just runs, and then he's in space. And you're like, it's so clever, and it's what experienced players do, isn't it? And that's what he's done there. And the finish is so nonchalant, and it's such a difficult finish, really, on his wrong foot, almost going, complete 90-degree angle to where the ball's coming in. Barely looks at it, knows where it's going, puts it away, and it's 1-1. Like, you got to show respect for that.
Then a minute later,
what on earth's he playing at there?
If the first goal, I thought he could have done better. The second one was outrageously bad. He's got nobody in front of him. He's got a clear view of the shot. The shot is 25 yards out. It's not even. I don't think it's even that hard a shot. He's hit it okay.
Bounced up off the floor. What are you taught when you're a young kid in England? Get your body behind the ball. You've got to get your body behind the ball in case your hands fail you and stuff like that. And he's just, it's just terrible goal.
And like you said before, and obviously Ped alluded to with that heat and everything, that just, it's the pin in the balloon, isn't it? And you just got back in the game and it's like, let's settle for 5 or 10 minutes, let's go again. You're behind again. And then, for me, Sporting Kansas City just took over.
Yeah, they controlled the game then, where it'd been a bit of a fast start. They just controlled it and settled it down, and didn't really have too many more chances, but they just controlled the game. And I think that's where tired legs and tired minds started to show for New York. So they'll be disappointed, but they're still top. It's mad. We talked about Orlando, the video, and they've lost, I think, a couple of more games than Orlando have this season, and are top of the league. So
got the winning power. I mean, the third goal to Sporting Kansas City, Opari, wasn't it? The two teams met last year only once, and he scored the winner at the Yankee Stadium for Sporting Kansas City, and he scored again. He looked miles offside at first, but when
looked like a penalty at first.
It was, well, he done well to stay up because the lad could have been in trouble there, couldn't he? Finished it, but I think it was the least possession New York City have had at any time last night, so that kind of tells its own story.
Pirlo must have been tired then.
Well, I think a few of them looked tired, but they've been on a great run, Chris, and they can build from that. Just as, like we said, SKC have managed to turn it around. I know they're 5th in the West Conference, but they've closed the gap points-wise.
Positioned
they're
well.
Well positioned. New York City are still setting the pace in the Eastern Conference.
They will, and I think, it's still a young side. They've got a lot to learn as far as a lot of the players on the pitch go. They'll learn from the experience of the likes of Pirlo and Lampard and David Villa. So, yeah, things are looking good for them at the moment, and Vieira seems to be doing a half-decent job with them as well.
One thing I want to touch on very quickly before we wrap this up is they've sold Paku.
I know. It's crazy.
And for me, I know...
Where's he gone?
He's gone to Miami FC. Right? He's gone from earning $68,000 a year at New York City. Yeah. He can potentially earn $500,000 a year at Miami FC, which is a bit of a mad one. Now,
but there was stuff at the beginning of the season that, Vieira didn't like Paku, wasn't there? And all this type of stuff.
I see him back in MLS.
Sometimes players just don't fit into the way a manager wants. And listen, we've seen him last season and he looks great. He's dead explosive and he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing tactically or
no, I think he's...
And I think that's half the problem, isn't it? It's a strange one, isn't it? It's up and down. But,
that's where he come from. Was very successful.
I think this, going away from Paku as such and New York, I think the MLS really has to have a little look now at its
wage structure
and also DPs, because I think it's getting silly to have... you look at some of the teams and you can tell what they need and they can't get them. Orlando need defenders, they can't get them. New York need a goalkeeper, they can't get a good one because of the restrictions. And then we're seeing players leave the Premiership to go to China. Now, I don't want that kind of situation in MLS. I still want an even keel. But I think this DP rule's just starting to get...
Well, just very briefly, what would you go from 3 to 5 maybe?
I'd go for none. I'd go to an open. I'd just have an open.
Well, how do we then retain the parity?
I just have an open system because I just think it's getting...
The wage structure should always help to retain parity.
If you want DPs...
You look at the NFL, they have a wage structure and they cap it, and look at the competitiveness there.
Yeah.
You know, your superstars will take up more of your wage structure, but you could go for one superstar or you could go for two really good players. And that's the way you've got to play with it. Some people like to throw all their eggs into superstar
But they will
baskets.
say that's what they're trying to do. I mean,
Yeah, but
New
the
York
DP
Red Bulls at the moment, they haven't got anyone you would class as a high-class star. You know, people like Colorado who are doing fantastically well over in the West Conference. They've got Tim Howard in there now, haven't they? Jermaine Jones, but they're not chasing New York City. They've got three of probably the biggest names in European football. I think potentially for me, you go from 3 to 5. I think that might...
I don't think the qualities... I just don't...
Think
this season, I feel like there's been a drop-off in quality in MLS. I really do. And I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it's working the way it should be working. I see a lot of teams needing a lot of things, and the DP isn't having a DP isn't the solution. If that, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's great, it's there, it's supposed to bring in these great players, but I don't think it's creating what it needs to create.
So do we then look at moving the salary cap higher then? So that enables you to get...
I think what the problem is that DPs are on a hell of a lot of money. We don't have to look at the Tim Howard situation. It's ridiculous.
It's on more than all the other goalies put together.
And we're in a situation where we've got young players who are on buttons, and I mean buttons. They could probably be earning more if they were working in McDonald's. Some of them, it's stupid. And I think that's where they need to look at it. How
to drive that up.
That lower band needs to go up, and the top and the bottom need to come closer.
Right, okay.
Whereas at the moment, the top and the bottom seem to be going away from each other.
Yeah.
And that, number one, you're going to lose players to other sports. Probably. You're going to lose players to other divisions in your own country. That's pathetic. That is pathetic. Now, okay, people will say, well, that market's not working because we've seen Fort Lauderdale haven't been paying people on time. And so people will go, well, that's what happens. But in MLS, there's got to be some kind of parity.
He shouldn't be moving to USL.
No, he should not be going
10 times his wages, should he?
He shouldn't be. He should be able to go somewhere in MLS and earn decent money. Okay, he's not a DP, but come on. We need to be getting these lower players earning more money.
Better money.
To keep them in MLS for a start.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know what you think in the comment section below about New York City. You know, that defeat last night, is that going to make the wheels come off, or is it just a little bit of a blip? How good have Sport and Kansas City been of late, and how do we drive the parity? How do we keep the parity but drive the wages up? Any suggestions? Let us know in the comment section below. Look out for our next video when we'll be discussing all sorts, because it's called The Mix Zone. We are, of course, talking about Sport and Kansas City against New York City. Before we get into that game, let me quickly speak to Chris about New York City, because we didn't do anything last week, and they've been on a good run. They've won the New York Derby for the first time ever.
Brilliant.
And then had a trim.
Man, Frank Lampard's been instrumental in it, hasn't he? And, you know, I don't like Frank Lampard. And I said I was going to hate on him all season. I really can't, to be honest with you. He's still just as good as he ever was in there. He still just finds pockets of space. He's still as well. It's just brilliant, and it felt like from even this far away, there was a lift around the club and around everything to do with the club. And so that's just fucking, every single time. That is absolutely brilliant for New York and something needed. The run that they've been on.
Tremendous away win as well in midweek. So the New York Derby, some quick thoughts on that.
I think it was just one of those that something like that you just need to get over the line, don't you? So the fact that they've just gone and beat them, and look, they got beat 7-0 last time, didn't they? So to avenge that defeat.
Welcome back to the MLS Show. Me, Chris and Ped. We are now moving on to, well, there's a little bit of a clue.
What?
Sport
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, they might have played a little bit better than what New York City did last night.
Tired, didn't they?
They did look tired.